Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Happy Thai Poosam coming up, a few days here. I'm sure many of you are doing your sadhanas already when we did our video presentation on Murugan a few weeks ago. Set the mood. Confirm my speaking language. Okay. American English. It's my speaking language. So let's see if we can share the screen here. Here we go, February 9th in Asia. Today was Ardra Abhishekam, our monthly one. So we had a nice blessing from Nataraja this morning. Our Thai Poosam is in 2 days, 3 p.m. Hawaii time. And we are in the middle of Hindu Tools for Success, Part 2, first given in 2009, Kuala Lumpur. And since some of you, well, particularly our Shishya and Mauritius weren't here last time, there's a summary, which is convenient, of what we covered last time. We defined true success. So, for those of you who were present, how did we define true success? True success includes making achievements in all 4 goals of life: dharma, virtue, artha, wealth, kama, love, and moksha, liberation. Such individuals have developed good character and share their wealth with others, and thus are considered pillars of the community. They are also serious seekers of the within through their regular devotional and/or meditative practices. So the standard secular definition of success is wealth and love, and then to that religious people add dharma. They want to pursue wealth and love in a virtuous way. And then Hindus add moksha, our 4th goal of life. And then it's important that individuals, in pursuing all of those, have good character, share their wealth with others, and thus are considered pillars of the community, and are serious seekers of the within through their regular devotional and/or meditative practices. So all of that is in our concept of what true success means in Hinduism. And then our new topic for today, the concept of enduring happiness. Being happy is certainly an important element of being successful. The popular expectation is that happiness automatically comes from achieving one's professional and family goals. Absolutely true. Many adults have told me that they are surprised that even though they have, after many years, achieved the professional and family goals they thought would make them happy, they find they are not happy. One measure of this is the frequency of divorce in modern society. Gurudeva confirms this idea in the Cognizant Ability resource in the back of the book, Merging with Shiva. True happiness can never be found in the conscious mind or its subconscious states. And short definition of the 3 basic states of mind. because this was given in Kuala Lumpur, and those present don't necessarily know them. Of course, you know them. Conscious mind, the ordinary waking thinking state of mind. Subconscious mind, the storehouse or recorder of all experience. And superconscious mind, the mind of light, the all-knowing intelligence of the soul. Certainly a deeper approach to achieving happiness is needed. Fortunately, Hinduism provides us both with the philosophical knowledge that enduring happiness exists within us, within our soul, and also gives us practical methods whereby we can actually experience that happiness in our lives. Together, this philosophical knowledge about enduring happiness and the practical methods for achieving it constitute our first Hindu tool for success. Okay, got our first tool. For those who wish more information, this idea is elaborated on further in What is Hinduism's Chapter 1. Hinduism, the greatest religion in the world. And we have a song from Paramaguru, Yogaswami's Nachintanai, from the section entitled Seek the Profit of the Soul. The wise who have seen that the profit of the soul is what is truly of value will not be carried away by the transient joys and sorrows of this earth, but will live in the world like water on a lotus leaf. On the other hand, those who are unmindful of the good of their souls will go through life confused and agitated by worldly pains and pleasures. But the wise who, having the well-being of their soul as their aim, have rid themselves of the idea of good and bad and I and mine, will live in heavenly bliss beneath the holy feet of the Lord, free from birth and death. The ignorant who do not know this fall into an ocean of misery, put themselves in danger of entering the fiery mouth of hell. Doesn't sound good. If a man yearns wholeheartedly for victory in subduing the mind, let him practice Shiva Dhyana, meditation on Shiva daily. Then he will see for himself that, step by step, his mind will become one-pointed. Serenity, forbearance, control, and other such good qualities will arise in him. His mind will always be full of joy. He will not be dragged down by praise or blame, but will enjoy happiness, where? In his inmost soul. And the thought that the well-being of others is his own will flood his heart. That's a beautiful statement. I'll read it again. But will enjoy happiness in his inmost soul, and the thought that the well-being of others is his own will flood his heart. The non-mystical approach to happiness is that if you attain what you desire, you are happy. And if you don't attain it, you are unhappy. Win the lottery, get a great job, and you are happy. Lose the lottery, don't get a great job, and you are miserable. Webster's dictionary tells us that happiness is the emotion evoked by success or by the prospect of possessing what one desires. So even the prospect of possessing is enough to cause us to be happy. Don't actually have to have it yet. A reflective person knows that this kind of happiness is fleeting. When we finally possess what we have been desiring, somehow the happiness soon fades, and before we know it, we are back to our dissatisfied self again, desiring something new to give us that elusive happiness. New computer, new car, redecorate the home. That is fulfilling for a few months, maybe a year for the home. But eventually the charm wears off. So that's the point. Emotional happiness wears off. It's there. Depending on what caused it determines how long it lasts. But it doesn't last forever. New home, maybe a year. That's the one that seems to be the longest. Being surrounded by family and friends is important. It's a natural and positive state to live in. Helps us live a fulfilling dharmic life. Human beings aren't designed to be alone unless they're a monk. However, the problem comes if we rely on family and friends to make us happy. This is also a false concept. We need our happiness to come from within ourselves. Then we can share that happiness with our family and friends. We should never fall into thinking, I am unhappy by myself. Somehow if I get married, if I have children, or if I have lots of friends, I will be happy. It does not work that way. Any temporary happiness soon wears away in the old cycle of fulfillment of desire. We get married. If we are an unhappy person, we may be happy for a while, but eventually we will fall back into that state of unhappiness. Why? Because that is our mental habit, the mode our mind operates in. That habit does not go away just because we associate with new people. Okay, we got desire, fulfillment, pleasure, loss, pain, suffering. That is the cycle of seeking happiness in outer things, be they possessions or people. So we'll read that again. Desire, fulfillment, pleasure, loss, pain, suffering. What is the solution? Some say give up desire. Desire is what is causing the whole problem, drives us to get what we want, and when the happiness of that getting eventually wears off, we start all over again with a new desire. So if you can get rid of desire, you solve the whole problem, right? Do you think giving up desire is the answer? If you don't, why is that? Gurudeva looked at it differently. He said, desire is life, and the reason we desire things is because we are alive. Desire is energy expressing itself. The only way you could get rid of desire would be to get rid of life. But even if the physical body has passed on, even if we don't have a physical body, we are still alive, still active, creative, and motivated by what? Desire. So trying to get rid of desire is not really a solution to the cycle of desire and fulfillment. Question to you. Since we can't give up desire, what can we do? An excellent question. Instead, Gurudeva suggested uplifting our consciousness and changing what we desire. That is how we solve the problem. By channeling or transmuting our energy, desiring things that are more refined. Instead of desiring just to make ourselves happy, we desire to make our family and friends happy too. That is a higher desire. So sometimes you hear swamis say give up desire, but really, if they were to fine-tune their wording, they would say, give up your desires for objects, for goals that only benefit you. Raise your consciousness and desire things that benefit lots of people. Desire spiritual unfoldment, desire cultural refinement. So lift up your energy and desire something that's more high-minded. That's what they mean. Going to school is a way of lifting up our energy. Basic way of lifting energy, very important. As a child, first we memorize, bringing the energies up out of the chakras below the Muladhara into the Muladhara, the first principal chakra. So memorization is underrated. It's very important, and it actually helps us stabilize our awareness in the Muladhara. We don't go down 1 into fear, we don't go down 2 into anger, we don't go down 3 into jealousy. Then in the Swadhisthana, the second principal chakra, we reason, we learn how to think. Then we learn how to push things through and accomplish them through the force of will in the Manipura, the third principal chakra. These chakras are explained in detail in what is Hinduism. I jumped off that too early. Cultural practices such as singing, dancing, and playing a musical instrument are also effective ways of refining desire. They help raise the energies even further than the basic studying in school. In doing so, we raise our consciousness and learn to avoid the grosser states of mind, doubt, depression, discouragement, and circumvent the base problem of desires leading ultimately to sorrow. So cultural practices, such as singing, dancing, playing a musical instrument, generally are done in the teenage years and the few years just before the teenage years, and it's common to all cultures, not just Hindu culture. In Western culture, girls learn ballet, boys learn a musical instrument. So it's not just a Hindu practice. It's a way of becoming further refined, lifting your energies up further. A cultured person who has raised his or her energies through schooling and cultural pursuits will naturally be inclined to turn within, to claim the spiritual happiness that is inside of us, in our inner self, our soul. What is the Sanskrit name for our inner happiness? This is a term I coined, so you don't find it in other books, as far as I know. This happiness has a Sanskrit name, Sahajananda. Sahaja means that which is inherent, innate, or natural, and Ananda, as we all know, means bliss, happiness, or joy. Thus we could translate Sahajananda as our inherent happiness. Knowing that happiness is already part of our inner self, the next step is to learn how to experience that part of us that is always happy. Our religion gives us inner ways and outer ways to accomplish this. So again, this is the two-part aspect of teachings in Hinduism. We have the theory, Sahajananda exists within us in our soul nature. That's just the theory. Then we need the practice that allows us to experience it. So, like two sides of a coin. Let's see what we ask. What Hindu practices enable us to experience our inner happiness? Good question. The monistic or meditative way is to turn within in meditation, go deep into the lotus of the heart and experience our inner self, our inner light, our spiritual energy. That makes us truly happy. That's a wonderful way. This is the way Paramaguru Yogaswami described in his song and saying that if you practice Shiva Dhyana, meditation on Shiva daily, you will enjoy happiness in your inmost soul, and the thought that the well-being of others is your own will flood your heart. Of course, to practice meditation and to be successful in meditation are two different things entirely. When many people sit to meditate, they are unable to control their thoughts, which wander all over the place and never stop. In the successful practice of meditation, our thoughts do stop and we are able to experience our inner self and the happiness that is always there. Welcome to Hawaii and our feral chickens. To be successful in the meditative approach clearly requires being trained in meditation by a good teacher. Thus, this method is the most advanced. So that's important to keep in mind, that in our teachings, meditation is an advanced practice. It's not what you do when you walk in the door. We need simpler practices that are easier to be successful at. There's also the theistic or devotional way. We can come to the temple and open ourselves to the blessings of the deities. We come in an unhappy state, receive the blessings, and go away uplifted and happy. Why? Because we have connected with our inner self through external worship. We have connected with the same blissful state that can be achieved through meditation. Success at this method requires feeling some devotion for the deity and concentrating or paying attention to this ceremony. In other words, just being in the temple physically with the mind somewhere else. You're thinking about what you're going to eat when you leave, or what you're going to do in the office tomorrow morning when you arrive, doesn't do it. It's like meditating with the mind wandering. It doesn't provide the benefit. So we need to bring the mind into the temple, focus on the ceremony, feel some devotion, concentrate. Importance of concentration is illustrated in this analogy. Most everyone has a favorite music, which if they listen to uplifts them. However, if the music is playing and the person is thinking about something else, the music will not uplift the person. Clearly, one needs to pay attention to it for the upliftment to occur. Attending puja works the same way. If we pay attention, we receive the deity's blessings and feel uplifted and experience our inner happiness. If we do not pay attention, then this does not occur. The blessings of the deity, the blessings of the deity are called Sanidhyam and refer to the radiance and blessed presence of Shakti in and around the temple. Some of Gurudeva's writings, he also refers to these blessings as the darshan of the deity. It's easiest to feel their blessings at the high point of the puja when the flame is held high and the bells ring the loudest. So I say that makes it easy. If the bells are ringing the loudest, you know you're supposed to really pay attention. Oh, the analogy of the sun. You're familiar with this one, I'll skip it. Gurudeva shares an insightful description of this process in his book, Loving Ganesha. There are 5 great Shaktis of Lord Ganesha, as he himself explained. Their positive vibratory rates can be felt through your astral and physical body and should always be with you. What is this Shakti? You may be wondering. It is being in the presence of divinity. All holy men and women emanate all of these Shaktis, and you can too, some stronger than others. Shakti is divine radiation from the third world, causal plane, through the second world, astral plane, into the first, physical plane. The astral body is in the second world and lives inside the physical body. It is through the astral body that Shakti is felt. It's not physical. We feel it in the mind, in the astral body. Shakti comes from the third world and permeates the astral body in the second world. This is why the physical body sometimes seems to be filled up with Shakti from deep within, permeating out to the inside of our skin. Deeply awakened souls become so filled with the Shakti of the divine that it permeates as cosmic rays out through the skin to the perimeter of the aura, the colorful film of light that surrounds the body. It is felt by other people and attributed as a personal darshana, but actually it's coming from the deity. Then we get a third way that Gurudeva gave us to move our awareness into our spiritual being. It's a nice one. If you want to attain happiness, make others happy. Isn't it simple? If you want to attain happiness, make others happy. That is a wonderful statement. Quite often we are unhappy because we are too self-centered. We are in a selfish state of mind concerned only about our life, our problems, our challenges. Life is not treating us fairly, we think, so we are unhappy. What's the antidote? Do something for other people. Try to make them happy. Gurudeva made an insightful statement about selfless service. Go out into the world this week and let your light shine through your kind thoughts, but let each thought manifest itself as a physical deed of doing something for someone else. In other words, just don't think about it, do something. Lift their burdens just a little bit, and unknowingly perhaps, you may lift something that is burdening your mind. You erase and wipe clean the mirror of your own mind through helping another. We call this karma yoga. The deep practice, this is quite a sentence coming up, of unwinding through service the selfish, self-centered, egotistical vasanas of the lower nature that have been generated for many, many lives and which bind the soul in darkness. Through service and kindness, you can unwind the subconscious mind and gain a clear understanding of all laws of life. Your soul will shine forth. You will be that peace. You will radiate that inner happiness and be truly secure simply by practicing being kind in thought, word, and underline deed. Many years ago, we visited Oroville outside of Pondicherry, South India, and spoke to some of the teachers there about how they imparted spirituality to their students. One teacher shared a practice that she found effective. It was to have each of her students help another student every day, but without the other student knowing they were being helped. This certainly is an excellent example of the idea of attaining happiness through making others happy, shows that even young children can be trained in this method of experiencing enduring happiness. Then we get a story from Illinois. Trying to think, yes, we haven't. I think we did this one recently, so we'll skip it. So wait for it to move. Here we go. New Orleans. That's a great story, even if you've heard it. This was a long time ago. Hurricane Katrina, really a big one. Television story was about a good-sized group of college students who during school break all traveled as a group to New Orleans, lived in simple conditions for about a week, and during the day helped repair a number of the damaged homes. The interesting part was the testimony of the youth at the end of the segment. The common theme in all their statements was they had never done anything like this before, were quite surprised at how good it made them feel, and hope to have an opportunity to volunteer again and do more of this rebuilding work in the near future. So, made them happy. In visiting various organizations around the world, we always encourage the organization's youth group to perform community service at least once a year. That's not too much to ask. As is demonstrated in our New Orleans story, community service can be surprisingly uplifting to all the youth who participate. In conclusion, Hinduism provides us both with the philosophical knowledge that enduring happiness exists within us, within our soul, and also gives us practical methods whereby we can actually experience that happiness in our lives through understanding the nature of desire, refining our desires, developing a cultured nature, and experiencing inner joy through the spiritual practices of meditation, devotion, and selfless service. And being able to live a happy family life based on this knowledge and these practices is definitely an important part of success. Final thoughts to parents. Parents are naturally focused on making sure their children are as successful in life as possible, which is good. However, unfortunately, some Hindu parents feel that their children's participation in Hindu activities and studies is a complete waste of time, meaning that it contributes nothing at all to their becoming successful. As this section has pointed out, happiness is not that easy to achieve. But with the help of Hindu principles and practices, our children can lead happy adult lives. Next is a story that relates to the idea of inherent states of higher consciousness. It is a few comments about Theata Fisher, was known for telling American Indian stories. She performed as a representative of American Indians at state dinners before President Franklin D. Roosevelt in the 1930s. We watched the movie Theata. One statement that impressed me was that in speaking of religion, she said, standing by a beautiful mountain lake was her cathedral. Made me ponder a quality of human consciousness. Take a cow. If a cow stands next to a water trough in a pasture, or next to a mountain lake. To the cow, water is water. It takes a human consciousness for the lake to transport you into a religious feeling. We can explain the Hindu approach to meditation as acquiring the ability to move to that same state of consciousness without needing an external lake. In Shum, we have the word anif, the sublime vibration of a place or platform of worship, an altar outside or inside, finding the place within yourself that is absolutely quiet. In anif, we are deep enough within that all of the forces of the mind can be seen, and we are, like the hummingbird, totally quiet. From anif, we look out and see the forces equalizing themselves. One of our meditations, we have a part of it is Nalif I'if Anif, meaning Nalif. If you practice something regularly, it stays there, right under the surface of the mind, so to speak. So Nalif is finding what was there last time you meditated. It's still there, if it was recent. I'if is that which is holding the vibration, and Anif is the state you're looking for. Sacred quietness. And then one last comment is, that for parents, the teachers of kids, Hinduism classes, it's important to get this concept in the mind. Happiness does not come from the world. The world is a place where we're happy one day and sad the next. It comes from experiencing the soul. So they may not think much of that teaching, but when they're 25, 30 years old and unhappy, they may remember it. So we hope so. Character qualities from our workbook up to the L's here. Loyalty. 35th character quality. How would you define loyalty? The workbook gives this definition. Loyalty is having firm and constant devotion to one's family, friends, religion, and country. I express loyalty when I am faithful in all my relationships. The opposite is disloyalty. And Gurudeva quotes, devotion is love of God, gods, and Guru, and dedication to family and friends. We cultivate devotion through being loyal and trustworthy. Follow your chosen path with all your heart. Give it your full devotion, energy, and loyalty in fulfilling its goals. True seekers on the path, hoping for genuine attainment, do not wander from path to path, school to school, preceptor to preceptor, because it is known that indecision inhibits all spiritual growth. In fulfilling his Purusha Dharma, the husband gives his prana, love, and loyalty to his family, and he benefits the community through his service. That's a nice one. Read it again. In fulfilling his Purusha Dharma, the husband gives his prana, love, and loyalty to his family, and he benefits the community through his service. Take a moment to identify a few ways in which you could improve in loyalty. Surrounded by nature. Quotes from Yogaswami's Words of Our Master is our third topic. You will not attain jnanam, wisdom, even if you read 1,000 Qurans. You must know yourself by yourself. What does that mean to you? My thought is Yogaswami is not saying we should not read the Quran. He's saying that reading it will not give you the state of jnanam, for that we need to go within. So there's benefit in the Quran, but it's limited benefit. For the deepest wisdom, we have to go within. We can't find it in any book. God's soul in the world. In the end, the world will also become God. What does that mean to you? God's soul and world. First stage only, God is God. Second stage, your soul is also viewed as God. And third stage, finally, the world is also viewed as God. So the world is always God. The world doesn't change. It's your perspective of it that changes. Yogaswami also says that another way. God is everything. He also says, you are everything. Two different ways of saying the same thing. This is a nice practical one. When you worship God, you must not ask for anything. You must worship for the sake of love. Afterwards, you can ask for your requirements. What does that mean to you? The initial prayer to a deity should not be asking for any benefits. It is simply an expression of devotion. After that is done, you can make your requests of the deity. Thank you very much.